Hello beauties! Welcome back to another episode of Beauty Within at Home Edition. It's your host Rowena and Felicia.
Hello.
Hellos.
Hello.
If you guys remember from our 2020 trends video, we talked a lot about these tiny little organisms that live on our skin, and it is probiotics. So we kind of teased the pre, pro, and postbiotics, but today we're going to go in depth. Because probiotics play into our microbiome and it's what gives us healthy, glowing, dewy skin.
So if you guys think that you haven't heard of probiotics in skincare, I'm sure you have, because even looking in the back of the ingredients list, if you've seen galactomyces, fermentation, ferment filtrates, these are all related to either prebiotics, probiotics, or postbiotics, which we're going to discuss in detail and really tell you how it works together with our skin to really build our skin barrier, make sure it's protected, but also how it interacts with our skin's already existing microbiome, which is super important because, as we've talked about in like other videos before, the microbiome in our skin is very different to our gut, and all throughout our body has different parts. Even our underarms has a different microbiome. So it's all very interconnected, and it's really exciting because this is something that I think skincare has only just recently really started to dabble into. So we're going to explore some new goodies.
Yes, after we break down what probiotics are, we'll go through the ingredient list to share with you guys the different forms of the different names for probiotics and how different strains of probiotics can help with those with dry skin or oily skin or acne prone skin or different skin concerns.
Because they all feed into our skin a little bit differently, so let's get into it. Let's start off with microbiome because that is the foundation of everything that we're going to be talking about in just a bit. So we have a gut microbiome, which has everything to do with the foods we eat, the drinks we have, just everything that we ingest in general, but also like the air we breathe, which is very important. And all of that is a very intricate ecosystem, and there is good bacteria as well as bad bacteria, and there's a very like fine balance. So everything that we put inside is actually adding to that ecosystem. But when we eat foods and maybe our diet is a little bit off, it will affect our gut, right? So these are things like diarrhea, if you've got food poisoning, if you've just like gone off the rails with like junk food, deep fried foods, you will start to feel it. And then topically on our skin, we have another very diverse microbiome system. It's different to our gut, but when that balance is off, instead of getting stomach pains and things like that, it will actually show up as the skin conditions that we see. So things like acne, irritation, inflammation, and compromised skin barrier.
So dry skin, eczema, rosacea, anything that has to do with lack of hydration once your skin barrier is compromised.
Yes, there's more bad bacteria than good.
And this is where probiotics come in and save the day. These tiny living bacteria and yeast live within our bodies and on our skin, and you can also find them in certain foods like yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi, natto, miso, basically anything that's fermented.
The funky stuff.
The funky stuff. That.
And actually, fun fact, sauerkraut has the most vitamin C than anything that we can eat. Like more than bell peppers, kiwis, more than oranges. Grapefruit. Yeah.
And of course, you can find probiotics over the counter in supplements as well. And the most popular form are Lactobacillus to Bifidobacterium to Saccharomyces.
I choose you!
Pikachu! Not only do probiotics help with digestion, they also help support your immune system by helping balance all the microbiomes, the good and the bad, to bring it to equilibrium basically. It helps our skin barrier stay healthy, stay strong, so that it prevents things like inflammation and prevents transepidermal water loss, and it can act similarly to an antioxidant to help prevent against environmental stressors from the very stressful world we live in.
Ain't that the truth? So basically what you need to know is that probiotics are the good bacteria that will make us stronger and healthier and more glowing. So what prebiotics is actually a sugar or substances that feed the probiotics, because the probiotics also have to eat, right? Which then lets out postbiotics, which are byproducts of everything that has been churning away, which is very nutrient dense, and creates things like amino acids, peptides, and hyaluronic acid, all ingredients that we are very familiar with. But who knew that it could be from bacteria forming it
Yes.
naturally, right? So interesting.
So crazy. So now that we are familiar with what probiotics do and how they help our insides as well as our outside, our skin, let's talk about how they show up in our skincare.
Whoop whoop. And boy, have we got some good ones for you.
Yes, so we'll be looking at why these bacteria are inserted into our skincare formulations in the first place.
Also, what ingredients you should be looking out for to notify whether it has these fermentation ingredients or probiotic ingredients.
And are there certain types of probiotics that works better for different skin types?
So for Rowena and I, we clearly have two very different skin types. She is dry, Sahara-like, dehydrated. Your girl is thirst. And then I am drowning in oil. I run like a McDonald's factory on my face. So there are two strains or most popular bacteria that you'll see used in skincare. The first is Lactobacillus, found everywhere. You'll see it in the ingredients, as well as Bifidobacterium. If you are like me and you're more oily and you are acne prone, Lactobacillus is especially great because it helps with treating and dealing with the P. acnes, which is associated with the acne causing bacteria. It also helps as an antimicrobial. So everything that's going on in your face, whether it's like blemishes or acne, it helps fight off that. And then for dry or dehydrated skin types.
Yeah, so as we mentioned, probiotics help with the skin barrier. And I think when you have dry, dehydrated skin, your skin barrier is mostly just compromised, which is why it can't retain moisture as well as it used to. So if you're strengthening that skin barrier, if you're giving it hyaluronic acid, peptides, ceramides, all these things that come from postbiotics, then you're really like building that very protective shield on your skin so that you prevent transepidermal water loss. And because the skin is better at protecting itself, it also leads to less collagen loss as well as elastin loss, which leads to more youthful and plump skin and more hydrated skin.
To make this all a little clearer, let's now jump into the products, and we're going to go through the ingredients and talk about what they contain and how they're all a little bit different, because you will see these go from like super expensive, like an SK2, down to your more affordable, you know, like under $20, which we'll also mention. First, starting off with Beauty Bay, they have a super jelly cleanser gel. So the probiotic portion of their formulation, they include alpha glucan oligosaccharide as a prebiotic. So as we said before, this is what feeds the probiotics. And where is the probiotics? On our skin. So the sugars that they add in this formulation is working together with what's already on our skin's microbiome. But on top of that, they've got nourishing avocado oil, you know, for moisturizing the skin, and also mildly exfoliating ingredients.
Like PHA, that's the largest in molecular weight and the gentlest of all the chemical exfoliants, as well as panthenol, which we know is vitamin B5, and it's just super hydrating and helps with moisturizing the skin.
Yeah, so this is like a very lightweight, clear jelly form. You know, the consistencies that Ro and I both really love lately, especially for the summer months, and it's very affordable. And I love actually all their formulations in their products because it's just very simple and straightforward. Then moving on, we have another cleanser that I have here. It's the Holifrog Superior Omega Nutritive Gel. Nutritive. Wait, nutritive. Oh, it's nutritive. English. Bling, bling, bling. Okay. Superior Omega Nutritive Gel Wash. So in this formulation, there's the Saccharomyces, there's a Solanum, as well as the black tea ferment extract, which is all probiotics, as we mentioned. So this is the good bacteria. As well as that, it's got the Lactobacillus ferment lysate, the Lactobacillus ferment, which is another probiotic to help fend your skin against, you know, environmental pollutants and free radicals in the air, as well as radish root ferment filtrate. So the thing is, if you see an ingredient followed by ferment filtrate, it just means that ingredient has gone through the process where it's been added bacteria to bring out the nutrients that will make it even more effective on our skin. So this is another really great gentle cleanser that has no fragrance, no scent, is very comfortable on the skin, and sits at around 5.5, which is smack bang around where our skin's normal pH level is. So
Smack bang.
Smack bang.
Smack bang. So a question, Fel. Teacher Fel. Does it matter where in the skincare step you use probiotics or postbiotics or prebiotics, because like in cleanser, you're gonna wash it off, right?
Well, that's the thing. I feel like if you were to invest, I think if it's like you're gonna spend more than $20, it makes sense that it stays on your skin, right? So it can actually like do its job.
But I feel like if you compare something like probiotics to chemical exfoliants, I think chemical exfoliants, you for sure would rather it stay on your face. But I think with something like prebiotics, if the goal is to balance your skin, I think it's helpful enough.
That's a good point, because chemical exfoliants, you can go overboard, but I feel like with these, because they're gentle and they're working together with us and complementing us, it's very safe.
All right, moving on to Neogen's Double Action Serum. This is technology in a bottle. This reminds me of Clarins Dual Serum.
Yes, you're talking about the dual chamber, right? Where they separate it.
Yeah. So the cool thing about this one though is that it's actually separate. Like you have to press both sides for it to come out. The first phase has white and black truffle, which if you guys are familiar with Neogen, they have this white truffle serum and mist that absolutely fell in love with upon first application and is still in love with. And there's also hyaluronic acid and probiotics. So this first phase combined is very hydrating and moisturizing. And what it's doing, it's healing the skin at a more cellular level. And then you get to the second phase, which is jam-packed with this complex of over 10 peptides. There's ceramide, there's propolis, which we all know combined the synergy of these super powerhouse ingredients is what keeps your skin youthful.
Yeah, it's like super nourishing. Like I love propolis because it's usually propolis honey, right? And it's like antibacterial, antimicrobial, and very supple. It gives the skin that like boing boing. You know, after you've done a honey mask,
boing boing,
the bing bing.
The bing bing.
But what I love, I think, about this serum is that even though it's a two-phase step, it is so lightweight. Like it doesn't feel like anything at all.
It is so lightweight. It blends beautifully, it mixes beautifully. It's more like an essence. It's like a watery essence than like a serum.
I think this is like so great for all skin types because it's not comedogenic, it's not too oily, it's not too nourishing. So yeah, it's like a serum essence step. That set such a high standard for the moisturizer, because you know how sometimes like you really love the serum and then it comes to the moisturizer but it just doesn't work for your skin type and it's like epic womp. But this one is also another probiotic packed formulation. It's almost like a gel moisturizer with kind of like a yogurty consistency.
And the texture is like a watery essence. It's like a water cream.
It almost just feels as though they added a little bit more oil to the serum. So it's like very lightweight. So in terms of the probiotic ingredients, it's got the lysate of fermented bifidobacteria, 8.5% lactobacillus, and fermented streptococcus, as well as 11 types of peptides and collagen and adenosine. So the peptides are probably the byproduct of the probiotics that work together on your skin to really just like, you know, give it that protection that it needs.
So there's also niacinamide, which we know is amazing for our pores and amazing for many, many, many things. And it also helps with brightening. There's also hyaluronic acid, which we know by now is super moisturizing and super hydrating. And I think one interesting thing that both Fel and I discovered is that it works well with both of our skin types. I think for me, afterwards, it is hydrating and moisturizing enough, but at night, just for like precautions, I still put on some oil afterwards. I use like the Ven red oil just to like coat it. But for Fel, you just leave it as is, right? Because it's good enough.
Oh my god, that's it. It's like the best finish. It's not too greasy. So that's something that we love. If you guys aren't on the market for a serum, like just a little reminder, face masks are also a type of serum. They have basically the same formulation, but in the mask. And actually what I like most about this mask is actually the sheet.
Ooh, it's thick.
Yes, and it's silky. So it's actually made from tencel, which is a little bit more refined than just your normal cotton sheet, which is why it feels smoother. It's got to do with the weaving of it. You know how the masks eventually dry out? This one just is like soaked in this milky.
And I like that they only cut out a very small like area for your eyes, so it covers all of it. It covers most of it, and like the nose, it does a good job of covering the nose and everything. It came with so much essence. And it's like thick,
So much.
creamy essence.
Milky.
So milky that I just like dug in with my hands and like I applied it on top just so it like really soaks in. And afterwards, my skin was glowing, my skin was bright, my pores were not as large. I love it.
Seriously, if that's what a mask is supposed to do, that's what a mask is supposed to do, right?
My skin
and
was
I
so
think,
bright.
Like, here's a tip for the essence left over. I think sometimes people just like put it on their bodies. I apply the mask, and then after 10 minutes, that's when I'll restore using the essence. So it's like a double mask, and then you can just leave it on.
And in this, the only difference is that in here, there's like a 10 berry complex. I would say the scent is a lot fruitier. It's like a berry dream.
You know what it's like? It's like the Paula's Choice Power Berry Serum made into a mask.
Ooh,
all the same
yeah.
concoction of
Yes.
berries.
And it also smells like Yakult, or maybe because I know it's probiotics and then it's like,
Same
like
family.
floral berry Yakult. One more that we've talked about in the past, we've tried duping this, or this was actually a dupe for the Biossance probiotic gel cream, is the Paula's Choice Probiotic Nutrient Moisturizer with pre and postbiotics.
It's actually got pre, pro, and post. Wow, wow.
The texture is very similar to their Omega moisturizer. It's like that whipped texture. I love Paula's Choice because they just leave things as is, but just because you leave things as is sometimes, the smell, it's a little interesting. Let's just leave it as that.
Yeah, there's like nothing there that's there to conceal anything. But in terms of their probiotics, they have rye flour ferment, they have the bifida ferment, much like the other ones, as well as radish root ferment filtrate. And then in terms of prebiotics, which are the sugars, there's the raspberry fruit extract as well as yeast extract. And then the postbiotic is sodium lactate. So it's covering all ground. It's a universe in itself, putting it on your own universe. I haven't tried this one, but would you say it's like better for drier skin?
I would probably still put something over this just because my skin is so dry and so dehydrated. So if you guys have been following along for the past couple of months, you know how much I've been loving Amore Pacific's Vintage Essence, and that is made of fermented green tea. There's also a lot of products with fermented black tea as well as fermented rice. I think the first thing that I think about is Tatcha, right? Like they're everything in their thing. They have like the fermented rice, and there's also fermented sake, which is SK2 that we'll get into in a bit. Fermented skincare ingredients are those that have gone through a lacto fermentation process. Lacto fermentation uses the probiotic we talked about just before, lactobacillus, to break down sugars and protein in organic matter over a period of time, which then converts these sugars into lactic acid.
And this creates a really acidic environment. And with this, the ingredients are then able to break down into these smaller compounds, which then get absorbed better into our skin. So yay! Yay!
So basically what you get in the end is a preserved, concentrated, and much more nourishing version of the original ingredient. So for example, green tea versus fermented green tea, that's why Amore Pacific can charge like 10x the price of something that's just green tea concentrate.
And isn't that interesting? Like it creates peptides, it creates amino acids, sometimes it creates hyaluronic acid, and all of these are natural forms. Because sometimes in skincare products that have these ingredients, they're actually synthetic. Not that it's bad, but it's just different. It's just like, science, love it!
If you ever see something that says blank ferment filtrate on the label, this just basically means that this specific ingredient has gone through the fermentation process. Now, let's go into the first product we will talk about. This is, out of breath, this is ATRUE's Real Black Tea True Active Serum.
Oh my god, this one is the one that was like, ATRUE, DTRUE.
Oh yes! So this really helps to brighten your skin, moisturize, improve skin tone and texture. It contains 81% black tea fermentation. I just remember this being like super hydrating and super watery. Like your skin just in the best way possible.
So how does this differ to the Amore Pacific?
I would say Amore Pacific is a lot more watery. It's basically just like green tea, ferment, water. The ingredient list is very, very minimal. I feel like the ATRUE, there's just like a little more in there.
We also mentioned in a previous video, these little babies, We Are Wild Sticks. They came out with a cleanser, a toner, they have a balm, like an oil balm, and all of them have probiotics in there, and they're like under, what was it, $15?
Yeah, they're very affordable.
So the thing is, I think we really love the ingredients in there. It was just the application and the way it made us feel using it was obviously not as like heightened or luxurious as what you would typically pay for, right? You have to get used to the fact that you're putting a deodorant on your face.
Does the toner fly out or does the cleanser balm fly out?
It was the toner. It like full came out of the packaging, I think. Bloop.
Yeah, but I really do like the toner. It's like water.
It's very watery.
Yeah.
If you can get past the fact that you're going like this. They added the lactobacillus into the pomegranate extract, then they've got pumpkin ferment extract as well as soybean, grape, and pumpkin. And all of these have been fermented. And on top of that, it's also got the prebiotic xylitol, which is the sugar that feeds the probiotic, and centella. So in terms of ingredients, it's really impressive, but I just personally don't like the application.
But it's a great entry probiotic product if it's something that you guys are looking for. Another brand that does a really amazing job with this microbiome thing that I think when Fel and I first came across back in the day, we're like, what is this even? Like the Jart Biome, what's a Jart Biome? But now we're like, Jart Biome! Hey!
Jart Biome!
So within Dr. Jart's products, there's the hydration line. I don't think that's available in the US, but you can get it off of Olive Young. It's centered around the Jart Biome, but it's also found in all the Cicapair, Centella, Tiger Grass line as well. Like the Jart Biome is also found in there. And what Jart Biome is, it's a patented ingredient containing 4 probiotic ferments essential for skin's microbiome balance.
This one is one that I mentioned in a very recent video, and I absolutely love it because it's got 2 of the ingredients that are really great for brightening as well as soothing inflammation, and that's chrysanthemum and lotus flower. And it's got the ferment filtrate extract of those 2 ingredients. It's more of that essence consistency. You can even use this as a serum if you're totally like oily, but I think even if you paired these 2 together, it would be such a great application because this serum is so lightweight and this toner is a little bit more like substantial. I think they balance really well, which then leads us on to our last little section, which we think deserved its own like set portion of the video, which is galactomyces.
Galactomyces, I think it's made the most popular through SK2. This ingredient was found in a sake brewery where they found that elder workers, their hands were significantly more youthful and less wrinkly compared to their faces. And when they researched it, like, oh, it's this sake that went through the fermentation process that they touched and that they come in contact with daily. So they turned this into an essence for our skin and a whole skincare line that's worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Correct. So now you see them in a lot of different skincare brands, and of course the SK2. This one is the activating massage fluid. It also has vitamin C and niacinamide, but it's like this gel fluid that's like very fast absorbing.
You know what's crazy? When I first started using your SK2 when we lived together, the one that your mom sent, the really pretty one day I was just like, what if I put it on my eczema? I was like, whatever, I don't know, this is supposed to be really hydrating. So I did that and it instantly made it better. I was like, this is magic, I'm gonna buy my own.
Really?
Yeah.
But that's actually what, you know, fermentation, bringing out the nutrients, is supposed to do for you. But that's not just galactomyces, that's literally all the prebiotic, probiotic fermentation like ingredients that we mentioned throughout this video. So this one, it's just because I think we see more of it like highlighted in marketing terms for skincare, which is why we just wanted to shed a little bit more light to make it clear on what it is. And actually in thermal water, like the Aven or La Roche-Posay, thermal water itself contains prebiotics and probiotics. So just by bathing in thermal water like this, you're actually gaining the benefits, which is why it's like formulated for sensitive skin, eczema prone skin, irritated skin. So nature's finest at its source already contains the best.
And stripping everything we've just talked about down to the very basic is the microbiome. So to keep our microbiome healthy and happy and safe is to not do too much to it to begin with, right? So don't over exfoliate, don't strip it, and just protect it at all costs, because by now we should know that a happy microbiome, either it be in your gut or on your skin, will lead to a happy body, happy healthy body, and happy healthy skin.
And I think actually, like, we're gonna link our gut microbiome video because that is really important. Even if you just fix your gut microbiome ecosystem, that can just create great skin. So you wouldn't even need skincare products to depend on it as much, because just through internally it will heal itself. So I think for all of us, maybe thinking about it until the next video, if your life is like a line, you know, how far we're off, and bringing it back to its center, because the gut, brain, mind, body axis is just actually, you know, keeping balance. And also we got you guys 10% off for the Neogen if you guys are interested, because that's actually just a new launch. So
brand new, baby.
Yeah, check out our description. And yes, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye. Bye bye.